We're live in 3, 2. No, we're already live. You don't need a countdown because we're already live. Okay, well, we are live today, Wednesday. Oh man, I'm not going to give the date because that's going to date it. All right, so hey, my name is Wesley Nappy. I am with Task Bullet Virtual Assistant Company, where, well, all we do is systems and delegations. That's what we do. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the 10 principles of success for the system is the solution. We are on number 2 today, which is serve one master. Now, people that watch these videos and interact, what you're going to notice is the first one was stay true to your core business, and the second one is serve one master. They seem kind of the same, right? And there are definitely similarities, but I'm going to explain the difference. So with number 1 that we did last time, which was stay true to your core business, that's kind of all-encompassing, right? No matter what you do, focus on the business and make sure that everything directs back to the business and keep your focus there, as I've said and will say, and I'm sure you have heard here and other places, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So keep the focus on the core business. Don't get distracted with other things. Now, serve one master is a little bit more micro. It's still the same concept of focus on your business, yes, but we're going to go way smaller here, and we're going to talk about actual delegation. So the first thing to keep in mind and think about with this is your mindset. This is a big one we run into with entrepreneurs all the time. This is going to explain how to get out of the operator of your business versus owner of your business. Everyone falls into it at first, and even after you've been doing this for time. Everyone always says, you hear it all the time, don't work at your business, work on your business. People say it all the time. Well, I'm going to tell you how to actually implement that. Because you say, well, what do you mean? Or how do I get out of working for my business? How do I do that? I'm going to show you. That's principle number 2. So serve one master, okay? That is focus on one thing you are doing. Multitasking, gotta stop. Don't do it. It's stupid. You're not getting 2 things done. I guess in theory, when you wait for maybe a web page to load, you could maybe load a second web page. That's the extent of your multitasking. You've loaded 2 web pages at once. There you go. Or I guess if you put a prompt into AI and you're waiting for it to populate, which really doesn't take that long. But let's say you did that and you wanted to open up something over here while it was prompting. Okay. But that's as far as it goes. When you actually work on something, put your full effort in. Now, here's the mindset that you have to be into when you start working on your business instead of at your business. This is crucial. Most people running into, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, one of your employees or a customer or something happens that happens all the time. Someone's like, hey, I got a question about ABC. And you're like, yeah, dude, here's the answer. And I've given it so many times, but you haven't given it so many times to that person. You've just given it so many times. That means your system's broken. That means you're broken. Okay. Now you're working at your business because you're answering the same question every time. A better policy in place or a better system in place would have answered that question for you. So now you start thinking in terms of, why do I keep getting this question? What is it in my system that I would have to adjust to answer this question before it gets to me? And we're going to get deeper in a second, but this is the first layer. So you start at the end and go, what do I want to accomplish here? Well, I don't want to answer this stupid question anymore. I've answered it so many times. I don't want to answer it anymore. So what has to happen to get this question answered before it reaches you? Well, depending on what the process is, maybe it's an explainer video. Maybe it's just some text on the website. If it's an employee, maybe it's a better SOP. Now we're going to get into the next part that says, do this, do this, do this. The SOP is there. The training is there. I check this when I get an email. It's an order, so I take this information, I put it into QuickBooks, and I send it to the customer, and then maybe you have to order it from your vendor. I don't know. Then you also make the PO, and then that goes out to the vendor, and you use this information. Here's what it's supposed to look like. Now you have your first system. And it's when the customer comes in, or an email, or however that order comes in, and here's the 4 things that have to happen. Now it's on here, and they don't have to ask you for it. So you worked at the business building a system that you can put someone else into instead of on the, and now you're working basically on the business. You were working there as you figured it out, but now that you've created the system, you can step back and have someone else work at the business while you work on other systems. So let's get into the next thing that people always get hung up on in this process. This is where everyone gets caught up. I'm going to tell you how to fix it right now. This is a pro tip from Task Bullet, where we do this all the time. So listen, you can create a policy that covers 80% of all the problems or questions that are going to come up, because I know what you're thinking. Well, when these emails come in, it's going to have something on there that's going to be like, well, if it's this, then you do that. But if it's that, then you got to do this. And what if it's this other thing? Like, this is going to take a lot of training. I have to train someone for all this stuff. No, you don't. No, you don't. We're going to start at 50%, tell you how to get there, and then you're going to refine it to 80. You guys have seen this, okay? You have called, I'm going to give you a little story. You call AT&T, whatever, and you call the customer support, and you have a question about your service, whatever it is, whatever happened, okay? You have a question. So you call AT&T and say, hey, I need help with this, I need help with that. And the rep goes, oh man, well, if it's this, this, and this, then here's your answer. And you go, well, it's a little different than that. Okay, well, they go to this and they, well, this, and this. And they go, oh, no, it's not, because mine's a little different. Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to upgrade you to the next level. Now you're at tier 2 customer support. And you go, okay, well, what's the problem? They come in all fresh. What's the problem? Well, this and this happened, and it didn't fall within these 4 categories. So the first rep couldn't answer it. So now I'm up to the second rep. Well, it didn't fall on those, so now he has a little higher training, or she's been working on it. She already started here, now she moved to here because she's been there at the company. Well, now she's going to answer the next level. And if for some reason they can't get to it, usually they can, and then they kind of revert to policy, and then they do some critical thinking, and they try to make a solution. But you only talk to that tier 2 if you've passed the original 4 problems that you could have listed. Pay my bill, check my usage, change my plan, get a phone upgrade. Those were all solved down here at 1. You never hit tier 2 customer support unless for some reason you didn't fall into it. This is you now. You can do the same thing. You're starting here at 1, and you're going to go, I'm going to solve 50% of my problems at tier 1 customer support. That's what you're going to do. So you think about these orders that come in, and you think, well, my brain has to touch on this. And no, it doesn't. Not all the time. So there are plenty of times that the order comes in standard and all the information's there. And so anyone can do it. So there's your first process. If all these things equal out, do these things, there's your first process. If this is weird or this is weird, at this point, it's going to require my brain because there's weird things. Send that to me. Now you are answering 50% of the orders that came in. You're doing half of this system. So you have to think in terms of the business policy. What is the policy if an order comes in and all the stuff is done? Well, the policy is send this invoice out, send this purchase order out. That's the policy. The standard operating procedure, that's it. If it happens to have a weird line here or so the address is messed up or something weird, send that up to customer support too. That's you for now. Well, you're going to start to get good at this. And what you're going to notice is that they're taking care of that 50%. And that's stop 1, okay? And you can do this with any process. Don't do my process is more complicated. Don't do that. You're not that important, okay? And if you are that important, you know what? You're not that important. Your system sucks, okay? Make a better system. You're not that important. So Build this system so that it works half the time. Then what you're going to start noticing is the other half that go to you, you're going to start noticing it's the same problems. It's the same 3 things or 4 things that happen. And then you can be like, okay, so what do I want the policy to be on this? Well, if it comes through and this is messed up, what do you usually do? Well, generally speaking, if it's got this, I go research this, I pull that, and I send the order. Okay, there you go. So now you make a 2.0 version of your process. So you've got process A when everything works out perfect. You add in this 2.0 that says, do this, do this, do this. Oh, if this has something scattywampus, whatever, come over here and do this little pull out and then finish the process. Now you have an SOP that can cover 70% of the orders that come in or whatever processes we're working on. Then do it again. Now I'm getting only 30%. What can I do with these? Well, generally, I could probably get rid of another 10% of these if I just adjust this. Great. Go back. Now you have a process that takes care of 80% of your orders that come in. You're only handling 20%. That's huge. That's huge. You do that with all the processes. So when you wake up in the morning, you go to serve one master. You don't look at the whole thing like, I'm going to fix the whole company today. No, you have one thing you're working on today, where you wake up in the morning and you decide, what is it I want to get done today? And what is the most effective way to do it? And then brainstorm ways you can get it done. Pick what's most efficient and going to have the biggest impact. Focus on that. And maybe it is the system, because that's where you're spending your time, on one of these systems that are taking up your time. That's what you're going to focus on. So that morning you wake up and that's what you work on the whole day until it's done. You really work on this, work on it. Well, I have these other things I got to get to. And what about the sales calls? What this? Right. Put all that aside. Get this thing done. Once this system is done, your mindset is in policy. I'm thinking, what is the policy of the company? What is the company to do every time this happens? Okay, draw it out, write it out, make a video, whatever it is. But do make an operating procedure, because that is your training for your next employee. So that when the next employee comes in, you say, here's a standard operating procedure. It's a screencast video of me explaining exactly how to do this. I already did it 100 times. Once you get done watching it and you have a question, let's get on another call and review it. Make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay, good. You just trained them by watching the video that you made. You didn't actually have to do it because you already did it. You shouldn't have to do it twice because you already did it. You should not have to do it twice. If your policy is good enough, you only do it once. Now, maybe you have to go back and adjust the policy. That's okay too, because you'll get better and better at it. So that policy in place, you wake up in the morning, you think of a new policy because something keeps happening, some type of hiccup. I'm going to go revamp it. Now you work on that. That's what you did today. And then the next day you come in, guess what? Those 2 problems or SOPs that you made, you don't have to worry about them anymore. You're only taking 20% of that work because you've done such a good job. So now, well, I got to get my sales process better. I got to get my social better or whatever. Okay. Then you start working on those. So that's what I mean by serving one master. Get your focus in on one thing, figure out the end result, and then work backwards. How do I get this result? What system do I need in place so it always delivers me this result? And if you cannot get 100% of the time, that's okay. Start with 50%. If I had a policy that could get to this point 50% of the time, start there. Then what you'll notice, like I said, is once it gets refined, then you can get the other 20%, 30%. You can usually get most things to about 80% of taken care of, and then 20% goes up to tier 2. And then what you'll notice when you hire an employee and you give them this training and all this stuff, now they're working on that. They're taking care of the 80. They're doing a good job. Now they've been with you for a year, 6 months, however long. Well, they're going to know what happens with those other 20% because they will have seen it. They're going to know your business. You move them up to tier 2. Now you pull yourself out and say, hey, now you're tier 2, and you're going to take care of that 20% that couldn't get taken care of on the original 80, or the original orders that came in, the 100%, the 80 got taken care of, the 20 went up to tier 2. And if by chance you are really stuck or have a problem, but now you know the business, so you should be able to think, you're going to give me like 1%. 1% is going to get escalated to you. That's it. That means you can spend all your day focused on the next thing. Focus on one thing, work it all the way out, focus on the next thing, work it all the way out, focus on the next thing. This is what a new business and entrepreneur does. This is how you scale a business and create something that a larger company would want to sell. This is the pain in the butt. Any of you guys that have started your business and you realize how much you took for granted at the last business you worked for. You went in there and you said, I need to do this. And oh, there's a policy for that. There's a form you got to fill out. And this and this. You thought, oh, this stuff is so stupid. Why do I got to do all this? Well, then you started your own business and went, oh, right. That's why. And you appreciated it. Like, man, all those systems and stuff, that was really nice. Yes, it was. That's what larger companies are paying you to do. When you build up your business and you want to sell it, what are you selling them? Your idea? They can copy your idea. That's not what they're buying. They're buying all the work you put in the system so that the thing just runs. That's what they want. You ever notice there's a minimum with these venture capitalists that want to come in and give you money? There's always a minimum, huh? They're always like, we don't buy businesses under 3 million a year or under 5 million a year. Why do you think that is? Think about it. Why won't they take you 100,000 a year? That's something more than nothing. Why would they take that? Because you're running the business at 100,000 a year. But they know that there's no way you're going to get to 5 million a year unless you've got some systems in place, some policies. So that if they came in and put an influx of their money in there and bumped this up to 10 million, that your systems would be in place and robust enough to help it. And then if there was little problems, they can send their admin and help little problems. But the overall system works. That's what they're buying. When you buy a franchise, dude, you can go open your own sandwich shop. You don't need Subway. Why buy Subway? Why do people buy Subway? Well, one, sure, the brand recognition, but that's not it. Their policies, their systems, it's already in place. When you order meat, the vendor's already figured out. Just put the order in for meat. Meat shows up. They go, oh, there's a new promotion this month. They're making some blah, blah Italian best sub ever. Great. That's the sub you're going to get. And it's already figured out. You put this on and this on and this on. Done. Out the door. That's what you're paying for with the franchise. Well, that's what the large companies are paying for you when they want to buy your business, okay, and move into their portfolio and do whatever they're going to do with it. Typically, grow it. They're going to 10x it. They're going to have this. That's what they always say. Anyway, that's what you're building. So you have a new business. Your focus is to work on the business instead of at the business. And I just explained how. This is how you work on the business by creating policies and systems. You always start at the end. And then you build your system to get there. And you start with 50%. How do I take care of 50% to get to this? And then I'm going to refine it. And I'm going to eventually get to 80. And then I'm going to move some up who's going to take care of the 20. Put another employee down here that takes care of the 80. And then now you're getting 1%. That is what you sell. That's what you're building. That's what's going to move you to a business that runs on its own, that you can just scale, versus you working at your business all day. That is the key. Then you hire employees. And then another quick tip. This is where all your effort needs to be. Seriously, you need to serve one master and focus on these systems. If you get these systems good enough, and you can slowly refine the system. When someone comes to you and says, I have a question about XYZ, don't answer it. Don't answer it. Pull back and say, hey, employee, what's the policy on that? If they come back to you and say, I looked and we don't have one, that's what you're working on today. You need a policy to answer that. Don't answer it until you have a policy. It's easy to say, oh, well, with that customer, I like them and they did this, do that. No, don't do that. It's, what is the policy on this? Well, what's a good customer? Okay, so what can you create here? What can you say? Well, this needs to go within the policy, and the policy is XYZ. So the policy is this. Write this in to our standard operating procedures. This is the policy. You've answered that question and put the policy in. You don't have to answer it again, because the next time it comes up, you say, what's the policy on that? That is what you're building. That is how you take your business to the next level. This is what we're trying to teach at The System is the Solution, is how to do this, because we see it all the time. This is what we do. We help entrepreneurs that are small, that want to get big. They hire a virtual assistant, and they're not sure how to delegate and how to get the result. They know they need help. They know they want to grow, but they're not sure how. That's what we're doing here. So if you ever want to get on with us, you can hop on live. We'll do questions and answers with you live on here, and we'll walk through your systems. We'll help you get them set. Let's work on it. Let's do this. Get this set. This will change everything. Now your business runs without you having to do it. That's how you move your side hustle into your main hustle. That's how you get your side business operating without you running it, is your policies. This is the most important thing that we do. That's why the system as a solution is named what it's named, because your system is going to be the solution to your business. That's why it is what it is. So I think we've covered it okay today. We won't do any questions and answers today. Today's going to be quick. So policy number one, the principle of success number one was stay true to your core business. That encompasses everything that you're doing. And then policy or number two was serve one master. And that's much more micro. Get down to what you're doing that day. Focus on one thing at a time so that you can refine that process, because you're working on one process and one problem at a time. Once that gets set, you can move to the next one. No multitasking. Focus on one. There is no multi. It's stupid. If you really think you're good at multitasking, it really means you suck at everything. Don't multitask. Focus. Drill this thing down. Get that system perfect. Then don't think about it. Think about the next one, because that one's operating on its own because you did such a good job. That's where you spend your time. I'm Wesley Nappy with The System is the Solution. I am the CEO and owner of Task Bullet, the virtual assistant company. We are here to help entrepreneurs turn that side hustle into their main hustle through automation. Join us. Get your questions answered. Join us live, and we'll go live and talk back and forth and actually help you walk through your systems and get you into a delegating master. We use the experience that we have basically learned over 12 years of working with entrepreneurs and how to delegate, and we pile it all up and give you what we can, and we don't hold anything back. I'm giving you everything that I've got. I want you to succeed. So that was number two. Next time we'll be on number three. Bye.